Welcome to the UK Planner podcast. In this episode, our guest co-host is Kat from KCR Stationery and Kat Creates Rainbows. We talk about all sorts of things, from being non-binary and representation during Pride Month to our shared love of Patreon and Kat's gaming channel. We have lots of tangents, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. Hi, I'm Ash, the host of the UK Planner podcast, and next to me is our first ever guest host. Hi, Kat.
Hi! I'm so excited, and I feel very special the fact that I'm the first. Thank you so much. This is like it's a big privilege, and I feel very special. So thank you.
No, I feel so happy that you agreed to come on and be our first guest co-host. You're not just a guest, you're a co-host.
Exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I'm excited.
Yes. And I'm especially excited because we have a lot of things in common.
We do.
We do. We're both lovers of rainbows.
Yes.
Both of us literally in our Instagram handles has rainbows in it. We're both non-binary beings.
Yes, we are.
Which I did not know because, a bit of backstory, I spent ages looking for other non-binary planners and I couldn't find any.
Yeah. We are unicorns. Genuinely. We're unicorns anyway. Like whenever I talk about like being non-binary, I always say like we are kind of unicorns. And I know that not everybody will necessarily agree with being under the trans umbrella, but under the trans umbrella, we are like the smallest part of that umbrella already. So like we're already like teeny tiny and then teeny tiny within the teeny tiny. So we are genuinely little sparkly unicorns. So then to try and find us within, again, another niche is just, yeah, we are special.
Absolutely. And like, I was so excited because I'm going to be honest with you, I've only discovered you recently. Yeah, I was so excited when I found it. I was like, oh my God, you're amazing. How have I not found you?
It's funny because like I've been planning for like over a decade, like genuinely over a decade. And I've been journaling since I was a kid. Like I've always had a journal, always had a planner. And it was only like I started my small business where I was just painting and just selling prints. And I'm like, I love journaling and planning, and I'm buying all of these stickers, all of this stuff, all of this stationery, which I love and I'm passionate about, which I still do. Like, why the hell am I not making my own stuff? Like, it just didn't like, oh. So now I do. So yay. But yeah, it is really difficult. And I don't know how we find each other and how we're going to find each other better. Because, like, every Pride, everybody always says to me, oh, I'd love to find some other creators that are kind of like you or like this specific niche. And I'm like, yeah, me too, mate. Like, genuinely.
Honestly. So I kind of came into planning kind of through my wife, who, when I met her, she lived in America. So a lot of the other planner people that I was recommended were American.
Yeah. So to find a UK non-binary, hey.
So like, yeah. So we're both part of the eHearts community. I'm very new to that. I literally, like, it's one of those things where I found out about it, like, I want to say like a year and a half ago. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll join that. And then every time I kind of go, no, too scary. No, too scary.
Please. If there's one thing that I will highly recommend that you do is to join in more, because this is going to go on a major tangent. I'm going to try not to sound too like preachy about it, because it almost sounds kind of cult-like. But it's really not at all. It's just really passionate. Like, I found Emily at a time where I was completely new to the creative side on Instagram, small business and everything else. And to find someone who was British was like, ooh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I really liked just her attitude, and even though we didn't necessarily on the face of it have a lot in common, there was just something about her. And so I joined that community, and I, hand on heart, can say that I've never felt any othered. I didn't feel like I wasn't part of something, because a lot of these groups, it's all like, hey ladies, hey girlies, and it's
Yes.
like brilliant, but that's kind of, and I say this, I try to say this nicely, but it's really stopping a lot of us who are non-binary, or who even trans folks who don't fit within that hey ladies girlies thing, because I don't feel like I can join like a hey bros group, and I can't join a hey girlies group. They both give me the ick and I'm like, why? So eHearts for me was just like something very, very different. And it was when I started joining in and started just chatting to other people and did the markets and all that kind of stuff, that I was just like, holy moly, like, what is this space? It's amazing. She's done something amazing over there. So I can't wait for you to do more stuff, being brave. I'll hold your hand. It's like virtually, I'll hold your hand, Ash. Next time you want to go and do something, we'll hold each other's hand. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm very much a lurker. Like, I joined Sunshine Lane's Patreon. And I can tell you something.
Yeah.
Did not go to a single call. Did not do.
Oh.
And I remember at one point messaging her going, no, I am here and I'm reading everything and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah.
What is it, do you think? I'm going to interview you now a little bit. What are you most nervous about, do you think?
See, I find people generally terrifying.
Yeah, peopling. Peopling's scary, mate.
Very.
Scary.
Very. Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, like, I can do this one-on-one all day.
Yep.
3, like, if there was 3 of us, a bit harder. But 4 and above, terrifying. I'm like, whose turn is it to talk? What do I do?
Yeah.
What if I connect really well with one person?
Yeah.
I don't want to ignore the other 2. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you just start over-analysing, and then that kicks in the anxiety and the panic, and then you're just like, I just won't go.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that I will say is that I think joining in, even if you have like camera off and you don't say anything, but you join in on the chat, that's a really nice way to kind of join in, because in the chat, you're not interrupting anybody.
Yeah.
But you're still seen and you feel kind of more part of it. I moderate a lot in there, and I've got my own Patreon, and one of the things that I was really scared about was doing my own Patreon and doing my own Zoom calls, because I'm like, what have I done this for? Like, because when I go live, oddly, I find that fine, because I trick my brain and just go, I'm just talking to a bunch of mates, it's fine. And because there's no one else other than like people writing stuff, there's nobody looking at me, so I don't get like so intimidated. But I started doing these weekly Zoom calls, and they're now nicknamed the cabin, and we've even got a cabin background for the Zoom call. It's hilarious. And but they're really good because we all get lonely, and I wanted to kind of like work with other people, but not be like in this huge group with loads of different people. And now slowly but surely, like, we're slowly building this little Patreon group up, and people are joining, and it's less scary now for me to join big Zoom calls, but I still do, as a reassurance, get those nervous where I'm like, when do I I will interrupt. I'm autistic. I will interrupt. I will put in the wrong thing. I will be inappropriate. I will like all of the tick boxes. I'm going to do that. And unfortunately, that's just the way my brain works. And I think because I've kind of got into that acceptance mode, it's easier for me.
Yeah.
It might be just an age thing. I'm too old now to care about annoying people.
Yeah. I'm turning 30 in August, right?
Oh, great decade.
And it's funny because as soon as I turned 29, I was like, oh, I'm going to be 30 next year.
Yeah.
I suddenly got the same kind of thing. And I feel like that's a lot younger than most people kind of get the whole, you know what, life's too short, people are people, you know.
Yeah, that's great. To get that at 29 going, oh, do you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Embrace that.
See, my version of the e-hearts that kind of was the Patreon that really kind of gave me confidence in people, funny enough, was the Southwest Planner Club's Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
And it's quite a small Patreon. Like, I don't know how many people are actually part of it, but the people who, like, go to, like, the calls and things like that, literally tiny. And it becomes so much more intimate. And on average, there's usually about 4 of us. And it's really lovely because we all kind of can really go in depth about how our month's going.
Yeah.
Holly will kind of genuinely tell us like what's going on, whether it's like about an online event or whatever, and genuinely be like, this is what I'm maybe thinking. What do you think? And because there's so few of us, we can really kind of each have a kind of say, oh, well, have you considered this or something like that? And it doesn't mean like we're not all like planning the event. Like, you know, at the end of the day, Holly's just kind of giving us tidbits and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to kind of be in that small group and kind of really get to know these people and be in the know. And, you know, you get to kind of see this event being kind of built slowly.
Which is awesome because also, like, that's why I like Patreon. It's why I'm a part of Patreons. Like I was saying with the cabin, like, prime example, I changed my sticker sheets from square corners to round corners.
Yeah.
Anybody else would be like, great. But I had a little like happy dance, something really silly that was suggested. I tried it. I did it on the call. Like, people were like really excited about it. And to be able to just be really honest and say, is this silly? But I was thinking of doing this thing. And it's like, oh, and I've got this Kickstarter coming up and I've not said too much to them, but I've said, look, I'm going to start telling you a few little things and then be really honest about how it's going with the setup and pricing and all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of get the idea. Because without having at least somebody to bounce ideas off, you are literally just kind of putting stuff out there going, do you like it?
You're completely in the dark. And let's be honest, when you get to know people, you kind of get past that kind of filter of, oh, I want to be nice to this person. You get to the real kind of, nah, that's an awful idea.
Yeah, I won't put them on blast. And if they listen to this, they know who they are. And it would be really funny because they will probably listen to this podcast too. But so someone was designing a banner for a market. And they said, what do you think of the design, folks? And I was like, I'm going to be honest. I think you need to change this and maybe this. And then suddenly everybody, because we have that relationship, we're like, actually, yeah, no, I agree. And also, could you do this bit? And we completely like changed it. But they were fine because they trusted us. And I think that's the difference, is that you build up a trust in these little communities that aren't, you know, it's not just speaking to everybody on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. You're building a community and it's about community. And it's community over competition is one of my favorite phrases. And because it is the best way to grow, no matter what you're doing, whether you're in a small business, whether you are into a specific niche, like whatever your community is, like, just find your people. And there are weirdos like you know, we're all here. We're all sat here going, hello.
I mean, absolutely. And I think I really relate to what you were saying earlier about how hard it is as a non-binary person to kind of, you know, and I feel like things are getting better. Like, I remember when I first started planning, there was a Facebook group that was literally called Planner Girls Only. And I was like, oh, so if I go into this Facebook group, is it going to be really weird if I start with, hi guys, not a girl, but hi? And, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, how serious is this? Because I understand the need for like women only spaces, and I'm very respectful of that.
Yeah, totally.
And I don't want to like misread the room and it being like me thinking it's like a jokey thing, and then it comes in and go, no, these are people who actually need it to be a women only planet space. And like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I've spoken to someone who, again, will probably listen to this podcast. So we're main lamers, but they organise a women's only space, and they were saying to me, look, how do I make this more accessible? Because I feel like my messaging is it's accessible to people, but basically I just don't want bros. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I get that, but just say that.
Yeah.
I think moving away from gender and pushing what it does. So,
Mhm.
oh, it's a safe space. Bros won't go into somewhere that's called a safe space. They'll
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
that and go, nah, not for me. There are certain like ways in which to kind of advertise things because, like, when you're saying no men, you're excluding gay men, you're excluding trans men who may not be the cis het
Yeah.
bro. And again, not all men. But you're excluding those types of people because, yes, there may be women who've been through trauma, and I totally get that. There may be specific reasons as to why you want to make it women's only, and I completely encourage that. But also, I think that the world is moving away from gendered spaces
Mhm.
and moving into more, are you into this thing? Are you this type of person? Great, come on in. And if you're not, we'll find out pretty quick and you'll be kicked out because you'll be either miserable or we will kick you out. Like, I always reserve the right in any groups that I start to say, look,
Mhm.
it's my group in the nicest
Mhm.
way. If I don't like you for whatever reason, I'm going to tell you I have a low tolerance for anybody who's intolerant. So,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
just do it like that. But yeah, it's hard though, isn't it? It is hard.
And that's the thing is, I don't think that that can always be about gender. You can have somebody who just has the wrong kind of attitude for,
Mm.
their attitude is just
Yeah.
completely other side of the room from everyone else.
Yeah.
And that's not always a bad thing. That could just be that their viewpoint is just so extreme and they're so set on that viewpoint. It's just against, but then if, like, for example, if I went into their kind of more safer space, I would completely stick out like a sore thumb,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's about who you are as a person, not what you look like and what your
Yeah.
body is. Like,
No.
it's what your values are, it's what you like, it's what
Mhm.
you don't like, and it's how you behave.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like there are people who will go into those spaces and just kind of stomp around and you just think, well, it is your space, but you're still stomping around. Please stop
Yeah.
stomping. It's too
Please stop.
overwhelming.
It's too much. It's too much sensory noise.
Too
Please, please.
much. Too
Yeah.
much. I like rainbows, but not too much noise.
No. Yes, I like the kind of loudness in my colours, not in my
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Yes. No, I'm still waiting for that rainbow planner event.
Oh, aren't we all?
So I find interesting. So myself and my wife, we have completely different planner styles. She is all
Oh.
about that neutral palette, which means that when we go to a planner event, we are like in heaven because literally I will end up with double of what is my aesthetic. Because literally
Ah.
we will just sit and swap, you know?
Yeah, so I like bright and colourful, but I'm not on the bright. So I'm looking at my desk and I'm like, shut up, cat. Like, there's a lot of bright right around you. But my palettes tend to be natural colours, but bright.
I did notice that in your shop. Yeah, I did notice that it's not like slap you in the face.
Bright botanicals. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because it's like everything is bright, but it's vibrant, and I really like the vibrancy. But then
Mhm.
because I'm thinking, because like even with my like fall collections, which are naturally going to be browns and those kind of earthy tones,
Mhm.
they were still bright because I like bright. But I think it's because my brand, especially on that kind of brand, because I'm podcast exclusive. Ooh, I
Ooh.
am going to be opening a different shop, and I think I might just start it on Etsy to start off with,
Mhm.
but as a little outlet for more of my kind of kitschy, really vibrant stuff because it doesn't go with the KCR stationery brand stuff
Yeah.
because again, it's all about brand, all about brand. Um, I want to make sure that I'm not kind of muddying the waters. So I'll be offering kind of like very different products and different styles and things like that, but in
Mhm.
just very kind of in your face. A lot of Pride merch as well, because I do offer like Pride stuff,
Mhm.
but I don't advertise it too much because again, it's not in the brand aesthetic.
Yeah.
So I want to try and have a brand and a shop that I can just go in your face, rainbows, brightness, so that I can have that outlet, because rainbows for life.
No, honestly, most of my shopping is honestly done post Pride when they're all trying to sell off their Pride stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like that, I don't buy it pre-Pride. I wait for like
A Pride sale. Hell yeah.
See, I have a big issue with major brands doing Pride stuff for the
Oh.
sake of doing Pride stuff.
Oh.
Ugh.
Oh. You've triggered a rant. There is an incoming in fact, it was quite funny today in my stories. I reposted. It was a rant. I did a reel and it was a rant last year. Pre-Pride, just basically saying, like, look, if you're not LGBTQ plus and you are selling Pride merch, you should be either working with a queer artist and or donating to queer charities or doing something to boost awareness. You shouldn't be making profit like we're Halloween or Christmas.
Yeah.
We're not a holiday.
No.
This is about something bigger and much more than just, slapping a rainbow on your logo. And so, I am with you. When big companies just, all the controversies with Target and...
Oh, last year.
Oh my gosh, refusing to work with trans artists. And backpedaling, and you just but I'm totally with you. If they've got a sale on, I would totally go and get all the rainbow stuff. I'm like, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. But like, it's funny because this isn't from me. I heard this from someone else, and I think it's so genius. I'm going to reuse it. If you didn't feed your dog for 11 days, and then on the 12th day you always feed it, that is not looking after your dog.
No, that's such a good analogy. That's so true.
And I think it's the same. I think it's wonderful that something that started as a protest has now grown and is in the ether. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that doesn't excuse the 11 months of the year.
No.
It's a bit like how some people go, I'll donate to charity, I'll donate to like the homeless people because it's Christmas.
Dear public, they're actually worse off the rest of the time of the year because churches and charities always do loads of stuff at Christmas. So actually, you're better off giving the money in February when it's deep in snow in the UK and they are literally freezing to death. So please do that instead.
Yeah.
But no, it's true. So I came out in the 90s because old, and it was hugely eye-opening. My first Pride was London Pride. Then my second one was Brighton. Talk about like frying pan fire. And they were both very, very, like back then in the 90s and early 2000s, they were very, very much protest march.
Yeah.
It wasn't the going out doing shots, sprinkling glitter all over you, which by the way, I'm fully behind that. But it was very much a protest thing. And it's now this mix of remembrance, protest, information, awareness, and getting drunk. And slapping a rainbow on your logo, which is, again, I don't mind it if there's stuff to back it up. Like, back it up the rest of the year. Have a queer policy at work. Have a diversity officer who's making sure that people are hiring properly. Like, don't do this, roll out the rainbow carpet once a year and then go, boop-a-doo, we're done now for June, blah, blah, blah.
If the company was like, hey, you know what, Pride has really reminded us we need to update our things because things are changing, I would be like, yes, 100%.
Yes.
But like, you're right, it's not always done. Sometimes it is generally the same design team as they use for Halloween or Christmas.
Yep.
And it bothers me. It does bother me.
Yeah.
But I know this year neither of us are going to be at London Pride because we're going to be at Planner Fest, Stationery Fest, Journal Fest.
Yes. I am so busy with my social calendar this year. Having not had a social calendar, I am now like, I'm going to all of the events, which is going to be awesome, but not as a vendor. So I'm going as visitors for the funsies. And eventually I'd like to go as a vendor. But again, talking about being nervous, I'm just not there yet. Like, I used to sell event space. I used to work in corporate as a project manager, running like multi-million-pound projects. Yet me taking my little small business to a planning event, but because it's so personal and it's your stuff, it is really nerve-wracking. I'm really excited just to kind of see everybody who I've been slowly starting to see in person, which will be so good. It's so fun. What are you doing this year? Are you doing all of the events?
So at the moment, I am just doing the Manchester event
Yep.
and Southwest Planner Club.
Yes.
Last year, we went to the Scotland's Planner Meet. You have to remember it's Scotland's, not just Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland, yeah.
Scotland's Planner Meet. But at the moment, I don't think we're going to go. It's just logistically. It takes a lot for us to get to a planner event. Both me and my wife, we're both neurospicy disabled humans
Yeah.
with an assistance dog.
It's effort.
It's so much effort. We weren't even sure if we were going to get to come to Planner Fest, Station Fest, Journal Fest.
Yeah.
I always feel like I have to say all three.
Yeah. It's weird just saying Stationery Fest. I'm like, no, there's 3 of them.
It's like children. You don't want to miss one out.
Yeah, exactly. They need to come up with like a acronym.
Umbrella term.
Yeah. So we don't feel like
Yeah.
they're missing out.
Yes.
But it's totally effort. I totally get you though.
Yeah. But I am going.
Yeah.
Technically, I am going on a average Joe ticket, but Bex has given me permission to like go around and like interview people, even though like I'm really nervous about this because I feel like if I was a shop owner and somebody was like, hey, can I quickly get a vox pop off you? Can I get like a 1 minute quick interview? Like a quick, like, how your day's going. And that's the one time that someone's like wanting to buy something and then they don't buy something. I would feel so guilty.
Yeah, doing it during like non-shopping hours would be good.
But then I feel like for Stationery Fest, there isn't a non-shopping hours for the shops, is there?
No, yeah.
It's just ongoing.
Yeah.
It's working out the logistics of kind of doing it without disturbing anyone because like I said, I don't want to. It's very easy to kind of go, oh, well, it'll be fine. Bex has said fine, but I don't want to like disturb anyone.
It might actually attract people.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've been to a few cons and if I see, because there's people interviewing people at cons all the time.
Yeah.
And I imagine that if I saw someone being interviewed at the fest, I'm going to call it the fest now.
Yeah.
I will probably be like, oh, who are they? If I don't know them. So maybe it might be an intriguing thing.
We'll see.
Please wear a t-shirt that says press or something on it. That would be so cool.
We are talking, me and Ari.
Yeah, get a t-shirt done. Get a t-shirt.
We'll see. Because we want to wear something so people know who we are. Because this is the thing is, I didn't realise how terrible I am at social media until I started this podcast.
Mate, don't we all?
Like, I was like, oh, I'm great at social media. It's be fine.
Also, it's really awkward. One of the things that I found, like working with other small businesses, is that I appreciate that not everybody has got the capacity to do everything, but also I think that we have to own it.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's on my list, and it's weird because most people, when they say I have a business now based in planning, it's a shop,
Yes.
And it's this weird thing where I don't feel like I can kind of reach out to other podcasters because it's a weird thing where I looked for other like podcast-based communities and people are very secretive. They're like, I'm not going to tell you what software I use. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
What
weird.
a weird thing to gatekeep.
But I hear this all the time with shops as well, where people go, oh, who did you use to, get your notebooks done? And people are like, I'm not telling you.
That's so weird. Like someone asked me the other day, like I've got a very specific, for my die cut stickers, I got a very specific it's printed on linen. So all of my stuff is done on eco-friendly paper, sustainable source, blah, blah, blah. And I do it all myself. I don't get it manufactured because of that. And the linen stickers, they feel like canvas. Now, I researched for months and months and months and months to try and find this sticker paper. And someone said, oh, what's that sticker paper? I told them. And they were like, oh, I was expecting you to be like, no offense. But
yeah.
And I'm like, it's sticker paper. Like literally, it... I'm not going to gatekeep sticker paper. And if you do stickers with it on, let me know because I will then come and buy some.
Yeah.
Because it's great paper. Like it's weird. It's just weird. And I think it's because maybe people think that by telling somebody else customers are not going to buy from them anymore and they're going to go and buy from the other person. But it's like,
Yeah.
you've got different artwork, you've got different
Yeah.
styles, you've got like, everyone's unique. Like, okay, my speciality is generally
Mhm.
botanicals, plants, flowers, mushrooms, etc.
Mhm.
Now, does that mean that someone who also does botanicals and hand makes notepads and stickers, are they the same? No, they're a completely
No.
different person. Like, am I not going to give
Yeah.
them the same sticker supplier? Well,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just silly. It's silly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When you find that perfect sticker paper
Oh, mate.
and you're like, oh my god, I love this shop. I've never felt a sticker paper going, well, I hate this artwork, but this sticker paper, it's something else, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I am shout out to Lacuna Moon Co. On Instagram, or Lacuna Moon is her shop, Nula. I'm part of her Patreon, and she sends out moon mail, and
Mhm.
I got her moon mail, and she's trialing out some new sticker paper. Oh my god. But it's because I like her stickers.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, if it was rubbish stickers, I probably I'd be, well, I wouldn't have had the moon mail, but I wouldn't, if I was holding it at an event, I'd be
Mhm.
like, yeah, I like lovely paper, but I'm not going to be. It is a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really disconnect the two.
Yeah.
But it's really strange, really strange. No more gatekeeping, people.
Yeah. Please.
Stop the gatekeeping. We're small enough as it is.
Yeah. But, I'm really thankful for this podcast because it means I get not just to get to like chat to amazing people, but like I get to have an excuse to like steal like a whole hour of your life,
Oh yeah.
which is like amazing to me.
Often what's missed is, and I made this change last year, and it blows people's minds sometimes when I say it was only last year, but I started going live more regularly. I started
Mhm.
creating a lot more stuff for
Mhm.
me that I
Yeah.
enjoyed making, for
Mhm.
me, for other people too, but it was mainly for me. Like, I was
Mhm.
getting exciting about, oh, I love this sticker sheet, which
Yeah.
to anyone outside is just like, what? But
Yeah.
on my sticker sheets now, I've got like my decorative stickers, and then I've got two little
Mhm.
strips of washi. And the amount of
Mhm.
people who are like, washi on a sticker sheet? And I went, I know, but it's because I use the sticker sheet to do my
Mhm.
weekly spread. So when
Yeah.
and I need a bit of washi, and I'm like,
Mhm.
instead of reaching necessarily for a different washi, when I'm in a rush, I just grab one of my sheets and I use the whole thing on one sheet.
Perfect.
If I've got hours, which I always
Mhm.
do, I like, my monthly spreads are always like ridiculously extravagant. Because I sit down and
Yeah.
it's layers and it's Dutch doors and it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
all out. But if I'm in a hurry, I'm like, I
Mhm.
just want to grab something. So I'm like, why didn't I make it for myself? So I did. And like, people are like, that's
Mhm.
genius. And I'm like, thank you. And I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
actually, it's for me. That's where it came from. But like, I think it's amazing that you get to do this, but more importantly, that you get to do it for you and you enjoy it
Yeah.
for yourself. That's awesome, Ash. That's
Oh,
awesome.
absolutely. If you haven't guessed from my previous episode, I'm obsessed with my wife.
Yes. I love that though. You should be.
I am, of course I am. And the fact that I get to re-listen to us having these in-depth conversations about
Yeah.
planning is an absolute joy. So maybe actually all the listeners and just me, maybe I just fill up my own. But I was going to ask you. I know that you stream your gaming,
Yes.
and so did that kind of start with the kind of mindset of this is for me. I don't really mind how many people are watching.
Yeah. So it stemmed from going live, like going live on Instagram, showing my art, and then starting to do the Zooms and stuff on Patreon. I was like, do you know what? I've always wanted to have a gaming channel. I've
Hmm.
always, like, I've been watching Twitch since the dawn of time. I don't
Yeah.
know when it was, 2005 or whenever it started.
Hmm.
Um, Probably a little bit later than that, actually. But whenever Twitch started, I was one of the first people on it, like watching people, not on it,
Yeah.
just going, this is amazing. Being a gamer, like watching other gamers, joining in, being part of the community, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I always wanted one. And I'm like, Kat, you're 42. I'm now 43, but I was at the time, if you're 42, like, really? Come on. And also, I was a bit anxious about it because of being non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
And not because I'm shameful. I'm very proudly non-binary and pansexual.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud of that. But in the gaming arena, people think that it's bad on Instagram. It is a whole different ball game when it comes to the gaming community.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with a lot of bigger people who have come out as queer or within that space, it's been a lot easier. And so I was like, I just want to do this. I just want to do this for me. It's something that is going to be a little bit relaxing. It also forces me to not work because I'm way too obsessed with working. And if I don't stop, I get overwhelmed and then I burn out. Constant autistic cycle.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
usual. We all know
Yeah.
it. Anyone neurospicy will know that feeling very well.
Absolutely.
But I thought, I just want something that I want to do for me because it's gaming. You are doing something completely different. You're taking your mind to somewhere fantastical because I do open world games. So it's not about like, I need to make money. I need to think about this idea. I need to, it's nothing to do with that. And it's just fun. Just fun. And I love it. And I really love it. Like, this week is so funny. Yesterday, this is so sad. I don't care though. It's fine. I'm going to own it. I streamed for 13 hours yesterday, and that was not intentional. But it's because I'm going for like this platinum trophy. I'm sorry for people who are now currently switching off. But to be brief, in gaming on a PlayStation, you get trophies for doing stuff in the games.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
this ultimate trophy for every game that is called the Platinum Trophy. Anyway, I'm playing a specific game that has very complicated, nuanced levels of trophies. And I nailed a load yesterday. And honestly, it was so much fun. There were only 2 people on there at any one time. In fact, no, there's probably about 4 people, I think, at maximum. It's looked on my stats. But there were a couple of people who were there pretty much the whole day, and they were rooting for me. And I was like, yes, we can do this, folks. We can do this. Literally over a silly video game that is completely irrelevant to life, that is not going to give me any life achievements, but made me feel so happy.
But isn't that what it's all about?
Exactly.
Like, having people root you on.
It was so much fun. I was like, thank you so much, folks. Like, this is amazing. Like, everyone. And it was so funny because they were like in the chat just cheering you on. And again, it's coming back to this community thing. That community feeling where you feel supported is lovely. And to have that in a gaming space outside of planning and my artwork and my business is great. It's such a nice space and I absolutely love it. It's brilliant.
Amazing. So, Kat, where can the people find you?
Oh, I always dread this question. Everywhere. Everywhere. So if you want to find out everything, go to Instagram at Kitty Creates Rainbows, because that's my main kind of hub. And that links to the rest of my social media stuff. My website for all things planning and stationery is kcrstationery.com. And yes, KCR is for the Kitty Creates Rainbows. On Twitch, I am the Kitty Tricks, and that's with an X. But again, all the links are from my Instagram, which is just easier. So much easier. But yeah, I'm on Patreon, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on everywhere, really. Although TikTok, not so much. I try, but I just forget to post there. I'm going to be honest, but I will try and do more. Sorry for anyone who follows on TikTok. But thank you so much for having me. It's been so nice.
Thank you for being a guest host for, it's been amazing.
Okay.
And yeah.
Epic. It's been epic.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so much.
Thank you everyone for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you want to find us on Instagram, we are the UK Planner Podcast. I hope everybody has a lovely, lovely couple of weeks. We'll see you in 2 more weeks' time. I hope your washi is straight and that your stickers go exactly where you want to place them. Bye!
Bye!